Most people think that compression is only used to control dynamics, but there's actually a lot more to understanding this incredible tool, including 4 specific tricks I've learned from pro engineers over the years. So let's dive into what you've been missing out on so you can start using compression like the pros. But before we start, I recently joined Sage Audio's mixing and mastering membership, and it's worth checking out. For signing up, you'll receive 10 free mastered songs with your own dedicated mastering engineer, unlimited mixing feedback, and in-depth audio courses so you can get your mixes sounding like pro songs fast. But more on that at the end of the video. Part of the secret to understanding compression is to first learn how these different types of compressors react and colour a sound. The best way to hear this is by testing out a few on some different sound sources. So let's take, for example, a FET style compressor on drums. This will impart its own unique sound and tone onto the track when compared to using a more gentle style of compression like an opto compressor. So you may be wondering, why are there so many types of compressors out there? Well, compressors come in many forms. The main 4 you'll regularly encounter are FET, Opto, VCA, and Vari-Mu. Let's briefly talk about each style, so you'll have a better understanding how they sound and when to use each one. As demonstrated earlier, FET compressors are the most aggressive sounding of the 4. This is due to their fast attack time and the harmonic distortion they add to any sound source that is being compressed. They work great on almost anything, particularly if you're mixing heavy genres such as rock, punk, and metal. VCA compressors offer the most amount of gain reduction, making it a great choice to control any loud transients or spikes in volume. It's the most transparent compressor as it has the least amount of distortion, meaning it adds very little colour to the source. They are most commonly used on mix buses and the master bus due to their transparency and ability to smooth out peaks without squashing everything in sight. They are great for attacking short, sharp transients. Optical compressors are the slowest type of compression. Because of this, an opto compressor gives a much more smooth and transparent sound to an audio source. They're great for adding sheen to a signal, and they help fit tracks into a mix without colouring them too much. They're typically avoided for bus compression and mastering. Tube compressors are the most colourful of the compressor types, making them great for the same type of sources you'd use an opto compressor on. However, they're most commonly used on a bus, especially for mastering due to their gluey sound. They give you attack and release controls, making them more versatile than an opto compressor on a mix or master bus. Now you have a better idea of what each compression style does, let's compare them on a few different sound sources so you can hear the differences for yourself. First up, let's see how each one handles drums, a very transient heavy sound source. And then let's try something a bit softer like this acoustic guitar track. And finally, let's hear how each one sounds on the master bus. I have one final trick to share with you to get the most out of your compressors. The trick is to use them in series instead of using one single compressor for each track. The reasoning for this is that it allows you to use compressors both correctively and creatively, much like you would with EQ. For example, you might have a snare that sounds too pokey in the mix, so you reach for an octo compressor to help tame the transient. However, after this, you could add a FET style compressor to add in some extra grit and character to this snare sound. This idea works really well on the mix and master buses too. It allows you to use multiple stages of compression so that you don't have to rely on one single insert to handle everything for you. You can instead use a few different types of compressors with more subtle settings that, when put together, result in a much more powerful sound. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to improve your mixes and masters, then I'd highly recommend checking out Sage Audio's Mixing and Mastering membership. For signing up, you'll receive 10 free mastered songs with your own dedicated mastering engineer, unlimited mixing feedback, and in-depth courses so you can get your mixes sounding like pro songs fast. Not only do you get your mixes mastered by your own dedicated professional mastering engineer, but they also provide you with in-depth audio education courses and multi-track sessions for mixing practice so you can learn how to create your own pro mixes and masters. Additionally, the membership offers you unlimited feedback on your mixes from Sage Audio engineers and community members prior to having them mastered. This is highly valuable, giving you access to a large community of producers and engineers, all of whom can provide you with quick feedback on what could be improved first before your track is professionally mastered. Also, being able to hear how a professional masters your track first is a great way of improving your own skills, so getting 10 free mastered songs when joining, plus 5 additional free mastered songs every month, is really going to pay for itself. So if this sounds like something you'd benefit from, and I'm sure you would, use the link in the description to get a 70% discount on the membership, which brings the total cost down to just $15 per month.